You see, for that, Justin, this is really a question for everybody, but it's based on something you said when you were a teenager. You said that your father's legacy is your legacy. How has that changed over the course of this campaign?
Well, we're very proud of our father and what he's accomplished. It is amazing. I've been joking for a while that when we started even just this project, we said Trump was coming to Pennsylvania Avenue, and we didn't even know at the time what exactly that meant, or
one way or the other.
How foreshadowing a statement that would be.
I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination.
We've seen all of you out there all year long. Don, there's a lot of talk about the possibility of you running for office yourself. Has this made it more likely or less likely?
It's a tough process, it's a brutal process, but there is also that element that's just amazing.
Okay, so federal agents just raided Ivanka Trump's estate in Palm Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. Not Donald, Ivanka. And this isn't some random fishing expedition. This is about missing confidential government files. The kind of stuff that makes the Mar-a-Lago case look like a warm-up act. Come on, we all saw this coming, didn't we? I mean, the Trump family has been tap dancing around investigations for years now. But this is different. This is Ivanka, the daughter who supposedly stayed above the fray, the one who rebranded herself as the polished businesswoman, the one who testified in court, wearing designer suits and acting like she barely remembered anything about the family business. And now federal agents are literally storming her private estate, looking for confidential files that just disappeared. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
Be able to touch someone that way, and I've seen my father doing that. So I don't know, my only mission is to get him there because I know he can make a difference.
And all three of you, you're not in the family business yet. You're still studying for the...
I just graduated in May, so...
Yes, are you interested?
Of course I'm interested. I think I'm applying to law school, though, so I like to bring a different kind of skill set to the company.
All three of you are senior vice presidents of the Trump Organization. So I want to ask you a question I asked your dad. There have been several stories recently suggesting that your brand has taken a hit over the course of this campaign. How worried are you by that? What are you going to do about it?
So I think we have the hottest brand in the world right now, and I think buildings like this are a testament to what we do every day.
Some of these studies are showing less foot traffic in some of the businesses. There's one, I guess, apartment in New York trying to get the Trump name off the building on Riverside Drive.
Well, so I think the brand is much more than New York City, right? This is a global brand. I mean, when you look at the people that he's touching on a daily basis, the presidency, fixing America, is so much bigger than any of that, regardless.
I think the brand is hotter than it's ever been, but it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the brand. I care about the country.
Ivanka, you've got your own business on. I wonder what you say to the women who've started this Grab Your Wallet campaign on Twitter to boycott your collection. How does that make you feel? And what do you want to say to those women who are doing it?
Well, the beauty of America is people can do what they like, but I'd prefer to talk to the millions, tens of millions of American women who are inspired by the brand and the message that I've created. My advocacy of women, trying to empower them at all aspects of their life, started long before this presidential campaign did. I've never politicized that message. People who are seeking to politicize it because they may disagree with the politics of my father, there's nothing I can do to change that.
And all of you, you're going to stick with the business even if your dad wins?
Can you believe this? The raid happened just days ago, and the details are absolutely wild. Digital devices seized, multiple federal probes connected to this one operation, and here's the kicker. Trump's political allies, complete radio silence. Nobody's rushing to defend her. Nobody's screaming about witch hunts. Nothing, just crickets. And you know what that tells me? This is bad. This is really bad. Let me paint you a picture here. It's early morning in Palm Beach. Probably one of those perfect Florida days where the sun's coming up over the ocean. Ivanka's estate. We're talking massive property, high security, the works. And suddenly there's a convoy of federal vehicles rolling up the driveway. Agents with search warrants, legal teams scrambling. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, missing government files that apparently nobody can account for. This is wild. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, oh, here we go again. Another Trump investigation that goes nowhere. Another media circus. Another round of headlines that fade away in a week. But hold on. This one's different. The DOJ doesn't raid the home of a former first daughter unless they've got something solid. They don't seize digital devices on a hunch. They don't connect multiple federal investigations to one search operation because they're bored on a Thursday afternoon. Are you kidding me? And let's talk about timing for a second. We're heading into a critical period. Political tensions are already at an all-time high. And right in the middle of all this, the DOJ decides now is the time to raid Ivanka's home. Yeah, that's not a coincidence. That's strategic. That's deliberate. That's the kind of move you make when you've been building a case and you're ready to drop the hammer. The missing files angle is what really gets me though. Because like what files? How did they go missing? Who had access to them? And most importantly, why would Ivanka have anything to do with confidential government documents in the first place? She's not in the administration anymore. She's not working in any official capacity. She supposedly walked away from politics to focus on her family and her life in Florida, except apparently she didn't walk away from everything. Legal experts are already calling this one of the most critical moments in the Trump family's ongoing legal troubles. And that's saying something. We're talking about a family that's been under investigation for business fraud, tax issues, classified document handling, election interference, the list goes on and on. But this raid, this puts Ivanka directly in the crosshairs in a way we haven't seen before. And here's something else. The documents they're looking for, these aren't just any papers. We're talking confidential government files. The kind of stuff that has classification markings, the kind of stuff that people go to prison for mishandling, the kind of stuff that you absolutely cannot just walk out of the White House with and keep in your private residence. So here's where we are. Federal agents just executed a search warrant at Ivanka Trump's private estate. They seized digital devices. They're looking for missing confidential files. Multiple federal investigations are connected to this operation. And the people who usually scream the loudest about Trump family persecution, they're saying absolutely nothing. This is the story that could change everything. This is the moment where the carefully constructed image of Ivanka as the sensible one, the moderate one, the one who somehow managed to avoid the worst of her father's chaos, that image might be about to shatter into a million pieces, and we're just getting started. All right, let's dig into what's actually happening here. Because the surface level story, federal raid, missing files, Trump family drama, that's just the beginning. The real story is so much deeper and so much more complicated than what you're seeing in the headlines. First things first, let's talk about Ivanka's role in all of this. For years, and I mean years, she's positioned herself as different from the rest of the Trump family. She testified in the New York fraud trial and conveniently couldn't remember details about property valuations. She stepped away from politics after January 6th, claiming she wanted to focus on her family. She's done everything possible to distance herself from the controversy swirling around her father and brothers. But here's the thing. You don't get raided by federal agents because you successfully distance yourself from controversy. You get raided because investigators think you're involved in something serious, something criminal, something worth the political and legal risk of going after a former president's daughter. Come on. The missing confidential files are the key to understanding this whole situation. Now, we don't know exactly what files we're talking about yet. The DOJ hasn't released those details, but think about the context here. Ivanka worked in the White House for 4 years as a senior advisor. She had security clearance. She had access to classified information. She sat in on meetings with foreign leaders. She was involved in policy decisions at the highest levels. And then she left, packed up her life, moved to Florida, started living the private citizen life, except apparently some files came with her, or went missing around the time she left, or ended up somewhere they weren't supposed to be. The details are still murky, but the fact that federal agents showed up with a search warrant tells you they've got reason to believe those files might be at her estate. This connects to something bigger though. Remember the Mar-a-Lago raid? The one where they found classified documents in Donald Trump's possession? The one that led to federal charges? Well, what if that wasn't the whole story? What if documents went missing from multiple places? What if Ivanka's involvement isn't just about her own actions, but about a broader pattern of mishandling classified information within the Trump family? Are you kidding me with this? Let's talk about the devices they seized. Digital devices mean phones, computers, tablets, anything that could contain communications or files. And here's why that matters. If investigators are looking for evidence of a cover-up, and the story specifically mentions cover-up, then they're looking for communications, emails, text messages, signal chats, WhatsApp conversations, anything that shows coordination or knowledge or intent. They're building a case, and not just against Ivanka. This could implicate others in the Trump inner circle. Now, the silence from Trump's political allies is absolutely deafening. Usually, when something like this happens, when there's a raid or an indictment or even just negative news, you see immediate pushback. You see Republican lawmakers rushing to cameras. You see Fox News hosts screaming about weaponization of the justice system. You see social media flooded with talking points about political persecution. But this time, nothing. Radio silence. And you know what that tells me? They're scared. They're waiting to see how bad this actually is before they commit to a defense. Because if they rush to Ivanka's defense, and then evidence comes out that she actually did something seriously wrong, they look like idiots. Or worse, they look complicit. This is wild. Let me give you some context on Ivanka's legal history real quick, because this isn't her first brush with potential criminal charges. Back in 2017, she and Donald Trump Jr. were almost charged with felony fraud. The Manhattan DA's office was investigating whether they lied to potential buyers about sales numbers in the Trump Soho building. The evidence was strong enough that prosecutors wanted to bring charges, but the DA at the time decided not to prosecute. Yeah, let that sink in. So Ivanka's walked right up to the line of criminal prosecution. Before, she's been in depositions. She's been questioned under oath. She knows how this game works, which makes this raid even more significant, because she's not some naive bystander who accidentally got caught up in something. She's someone who's been in legal jeopardy before, and presumably learned to be careful. And yet, here we are, federal agents at her door. The timing of all this matters too. We're in Trump's second term now. He's back in the White House. The political stakes couldn't be higher. And the DOJ, which is supposed to be independent, but let's be real, is always under political pressure, decided this was the right moment to execute a search warrant on the president's daughter's home. Think about that. Think about the calculations that went into that decision, the approvals needed, the evidence required, the potential fallout. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. This has been in the works for a while. Investigators have been building toward this, gathering evidence, making sure their case was solid enough to justify such a dramatic move. Can you believe this? And here's something else that's not getting enough attention. The search warrant reportedly connects to multiple ongoing federal investigations, not just one case, multiple, which means whatever they're looking for at Ivanka's estate ties into a broader web of Trump family legal issues. Could be the classified documents case, could be financial investigations into Trump organization dealings, could be obstruction questions related to other investigations, could be all of the above. We don't know yet, but the fact that it's multiple investigations suggests a pattern, a conspiracy, potentially, a coordinated effort to hide or destroy evidence. So where does this go from here? Well, if they found what they were looking for during the raid, we could see charges, obstruction of justice, mishandling classified information, conspiracy, maybe even espionage charges if the files were serious enough. And if those charges come, Ivanka won't be able to play the I don't recall card anymore. She'll be a defendant, just like her father. The broader implications here are staggering. If Ivanka gets charged, it puts even more pressure on Donald Trump. It exposes the whole family operation. It gives prosecutors leverage to potentially flip witnesses or force cooperation. It dominates news cycles during a period when Trump needs to focus on governing and not defending his kids in court. And for Ivanka personally, this could destroy the brand she spent years trying to build. The polished entrepreneur, the moderate voice, the one who rose above the chaos. All of that disappears the moment she's indicted on federal charges. This is the kind of story that doesn't just dominate one news cycle. This is the kind of story that shapes political narratives for months or even years. This is the kind of story that becomes a turning point in how we understand the Trump family and their relationship with power and the law. And think about the pressure Ivanka must be under right now. She's watching federal agents go through her home. Her devices are gone. Her communications are being analyzed. Her privacy is completely shattered. And she knows, she absolutely knows, that whatever they find could determine the rest of her life. Does she cooperate? Does she fight? Does she try to cut a deal? These are the decisions she's facing right now. And none of them are good options. Because if she cooperates, she potentially implicates her father and siblings. If she fights, she risks more serious charges. If she tries to cut a deal, she becomes a pariah in Trump world and probably still faces consequences. There's no easy way out of this for her. Okay, let's break this down into what actually matters, because there's a lot of noise around this story, and we need to cut through it and understand the core issues at play here. Point 1. This raid represents a major escalation in federal investigations of the Trump family. We've seen investigations before. We've seen indictments. We've even seen convictions of Trump Organization executives. But raiding Ivanka's home? That's a different level. That's the DOJ saying, we believe crimes were committed and we believe evidence of those crimes is in your house. And they don't make that move lightly. Think about the approval process for a search warrant like this. You need probable cause. You need a federal judge to sign off. You need Department of Justice leadership to approve going after a former first daughter, who's also the current president's daughter. That's layers and layers of review, which means the evidence they presented had to be compelling. Come on. They're not doing this on a whim. Point two, the missing confidential files angle is the smoking gun everyone should be focused on, because if files went missing, someone made them go missing. Someone took them, someone hid them, someone potentially destroyed them. And if Ivanka was involved in that, even if she wasn't the one who physically took the files, but just knew about it and didn't report it, that's a crime. It's called obstruction of justice. And it's the same thing that's gotten so many people in Trump's orbit in trouble over the years. Here's what probably happened. During the transition out of the White House, or maybe even before that, files that were supposed to be turned over to the National Archives or secured properly just disappeared. And investigators started asking questions. Where did these files go? Who had access to them? Who was responsible for tracking them? And somewhere in that investigation, Ivanka's name came up. Maybe she had the files. Maybe she knew who had them. Maybe she helped move them or hide them. We don't know yet. But federal agents showed up at her house with a search warrant because they think answers are there. Are you kidding me? Point three. The political implications of this are absolutely massive. Trump is trying to govern right now. He's trying to push his agenda. He's trying to manage a fractious Republican coalition. And now his daughter is at the center of a federal criminal investigation that involves raids and seized devices and potential charges. That's a distraction. That's a liability. That's ammunition for his opponents. Democrats are already using this to highlight what they see as corruption and lawlessness in Trump's world. Republicans are trying to figure out how to respond without either abandoning Ivanka or appearing to condone potential crimes. The media is having a field day, and Trump himself, he's got to be furious, because this isn't something he can just tweet away or dismiss as fake news. Federal agents executed a legal search warrant. That's not a political stunt. That's law enforcement doing their job. And here's the thing. Even if Ivanka did nothing wrong, even if they find nothing during the raid and no charges ever come, the damage is done. The story is out there. The association with criminal investigations is cemented. Her reputation takes a hit. The Trump family brand takes a hit. This is wild. Now, let's talk about what happens next. If they found evidence during the raid, we could see charges within weeks or months. The DOJ doesn't sit on evidence like this for long. They'll analyze the devices. They'll review whatever documents or files they seized. They'll interview witnesses, and then they'll make a decision, charge or don't charge, indict or walk away. And if they indict, buckle up, because that sets off a whole chain of events. Ivanka gets arraigned. She hires a defense team. There are hearings and motions and eventually a trial. The media covers every single moment. Trump defends her publicly while probably being furious privately. And the whole thing becomes a circus that dominates headlines for months. Can you believe this? But even if they don't find enough to charge her, this investigation isn't over. Because remember, it connects to multiple federal probes, which means even if the missing files issue doesn't result in charges, there could be other issues. Financial crimes, tax problems, conspiracy charges related to other Trump family business. The walls are closing in. And I know people have been saying that for years about Trump and his family. And yeah, they've survived a lot. But this feels different. This feels like investigators are finally connecting dots they couldn't connect before. This feels like the kind of moment where everything changes. Let me give you the broader picture here. The Trump family has operated for decades on the edge of legality, pushing boundaries, finding loopholes, using lawyers and money and political power to avoid consequences. And for a long time, it worked. They got away with it. But when you become president, when you're in the spotlight that intensely, when investigators have endless resources and motivation to dig into your business, those old tactics don't work anymore. The scrutiny is too intense. The stakes are too high. And eventually, the past catches up. That's what's happening here. Years of questionable behavior, years of document handling issues, years of pushing legal boundaries. It's all catching up. And Ivanka, who tries so hard to position herself as the clean one, is finding out that you can't escape your family's legacy that easily. So here's where we are. Federal agents raided Ivanka Trump's estate, looking for missing confidential files. They seized digital devices. Multiple federal investigations are connected to this raid. Trump's political allies are staying silent. Legal experts say this is one of the most critical moments in the Trump family's legal saga, and the story is just beginning. Because whatever they found during that raid, whatever evidence they seized, is being analyzed right now. Prosecutors are reviewing it, building timelines, connecting dots, making decisions about next steps. This isn't going away. This is the story that could finally bring accountability to the Trump family in ways we haven't seen before. This is the moment where Ivanka's carefully constructed image as the responsible one, the moderate one, the one who stayed above the fray, that image could crumble completely, and we're all watching it happen in real time. The big question now is, what did they find? What's on those devices? What do the files reveal? And most importantly, who else gets implicated as this investigation unfolds? Because I guarantee you, this isn't just about Ivanka. This connects to other people in Trump's inner circle. This exposes patterns of behavior. This opens doors to other investigations. The dominoes are starting to fall. And once they start, they don't stop. Think about the people who work closely with Ivanka during her time in the White House, her assistants, her advisors, other family members. They're all potentially part of this now. They all had access. They all knew things. And if prosecutors start squeezing them for information, if they start offering deals in exchange for testimony, the whole house of cards could come tumbling down. And here's something most people aren't talking about yet. What if this raid is just the first? What if federal agents are planning similar operations at other Trump family properties? What if this is the beginning of a coordinated sweep designed to gather evidence before anyone has time to destroy it or hide it? That would be smart strategy. Hit multiple locations simultaneously. Seize devices before people can wipe them. Catch everyone off guard before they can coordinate their stories. We don't know if that's happening, but it's absolutely possible. And if it is, we're about to see an even bigger explosion of news and legal drama than we're already witnessing. Stay tuned, because this story is about to explode in ways we can't even predict yet. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely wild, and we'll be here covering every single development as it happens. This is just the beginning. The real fireworks, those are still coming. And when they do, it's going to change everything we think we know about the Trump family and how they operated, both in and out of power. Watch this space, because history is being made right now, and we're witnessing it unfold in real time.